Most people come home from work expecting dirty dishes, barking dogs, or a package left in the rain. Me, I came home to find a massive metal gate welded shut onto my private bridge, the only way to access my property. And standing proudly next to it was our HOA president, Karen Whitfield, wearing sunglasses like she was guarding the entrance to Fort Knox. I hadn't even put my truck in park before she strutted up like she owned the entire valley. "Access denied, Tom," she said, tapping the new padlock. "This bridge is now under the jurisdiction of the Willow Creek Homeowners Association." I blinked. "Karen, this is my bridge. On my land. Paid for by me. What are you talking about?" She grinned like she'd rehearsed her line in the mirror. "The board voted. You're now part of the HOA. So the bridge is community property." I stared at her. "I'm not part of the HOA. I've never been part of the HOA. My land predates your subdivision by 40 years. That's what we're fixing," she said. "We're expanding. And you're in the expansion." Then she handed me a bright yellow violation notice that said, and I swear I'm not making this up, "Greater than, unauthorized use of community infrastructure." My infrastructure. My bridge. On my land. I felt the first spark of rage. The land they wanted to own. My property sits at the edge of a mountain valley, 12 acres, with a river that cuts through the center. The old wooden bridge was the only route to my house. I built a steel-reinforced replacement 3 years ago and paid for every bolt myself. The HOA, their nearest property line was half a mile away. They had no roads, paths, or easements even remotely connected to my bridge. But the HOA had a plan, a very stupid plan. Their new park project needed a secondary pedestrian escape route, and instead of engineering one on their own land, they decided my bridge looked perfect. Perfect, because it was already built. Perfect, because they wouldn't have to spend money. Perfect, because they thought I wouldn't fight back. Well, they miscalculated. The day everything boiled over. When I tried to walk past Karen to get home, she stepped in front of me and pointed at the giant metal gate they welded across the entrance. "I can't let you cross, Tom. Not until you sign the HOA membership agreement and pay the fees you owe." "I don't owe you anything," she smirked. "You owe 9 months of back dues, plus a penalty for not attending mandatory meetings." I laughed out loud, probably not the reaction she expected. "Karen, I'm not signing anything." "Move." "No." "Then I'll call the sheriff." "We already did," she said proudly. "They're coming to arrest you if you try to break this gate." I almost choked. Arrest me, for entering my own land. So I waited. The sheriff arrives. Deputy Hernandez rolled up 20 minutes later. Good guy. I'd known him for years. He took one look at the bridge and sighed. "Karen, what did you do?" "We secured community property," she said. "He tried to trespass." "Trespass?" Hernandez asked. "This is his property." "It is not," she snapped. "It's the community's." I handed the deputy the actual property survey, deed, and easement map I kept in my glove box specifically because of HOA nonsense. He looked them over, nodded, and handed them back. "Karen, this bridge is on private land. You can't block it, you can't claim it, and you sure as hell can't weld a gate onto someone else's structure. It's community property." She screamed again. "We voted." The deputy turned toward her slowly. "You can't vote yourselves into owning someone's land." Her sunglasses started slipping down her nose. She pushed them back up angrily. "Then we'll call the county inspector." "Do that," Hernandez said. "But this gate has to come down today." "No," she said. "We paid for it. You used HOA dues to weld a gate onto private property." The deputy asked. She froze. That was the moment she realized she'd screwed up. I make a call of my own. Once things calmed down enough for me to back away from the yelling, I made 3 calls. 1. My lawyer. 2. A surveying company. 3. A welding service capable of removing steel structures. The surveyor showed up first, documented everything, and took photos. The welder arrived next, just as 2 more board members appeared, screaming that I couldn't tamper with community assets. The welder asked, "Whose land is it?" "Mine," I said. "Good enough for me." He fired up the cutting torch. Karen shrieked like we were skinning her alive. "You can't do that. That gate cost us $4,200. Good, I said. You'll be reimbursing me for the removal. The county gets involved. 3 days later, I got a call from the county office. The HOA had filed a complaint claiming I illegally seized community infrastructure. A request for an emergency injunction to prevent me from removing HOA property. The county denied both, instantly. Then something beautiful happened. The county inspector called and asked to see the site. Turns out, when the HOA welded the gate onto my bridge, they committed unpermitted construction, unauthorized modification of a load-bearing structure, work performed by unlicensed contractors, encroachment onto private land. The inspector wrote 8 violations, all against the HOA. Karen showed up during the inspection and tried to argue every single one. Those violations don't apply to us, she said. The bridge is community property. The inspector frowned. According to who? The HOA. That's not how property works. Karen folded her arms like a petulant child. Well, we're not paying any fines. You will, the inspector said. Or the county will file civil charges. I had never seen her turn that shade of purple. The HOA doubles down. Instead of backing off like reasonable adults, the HOA board delivered a packet to my mailbox 2 days later. Inside was a bill for $12,480 in supposed back dues, a notice of mandatory HOA membership, a community improvement assessment for the gate, a threat to place a lien on my property, and a note that simply read, "Greater than, resistance is futile, Tom." That did it. No more warnings. No more friendly conversations. I called my lawyer. "We're suing them," I said. He replied, "Good. I've been waiting for this." The lawsuit. We filed a civil suit for trespassing, property damage, unlawful encroachment, harassment, attempted extortion, interference with access to residence, fraudulent liens, emotional distress. We sought compensation for repairs, all legal fees, damages, punitive damages, and a permanent injunction preventing the HOA from ever touching my property again. The HOA's lawyer, a guy who looked like he ate depositions for breakfast, tried to argue the case should be dismissed because the HOA had authority over the entire neighborhood ecosystem. The judge raised an eyebrow. What does that even mean? The lawyer had no answer. The bridge becomes Exhibit A. We brought photos, surveys, documents, and witness statements, including from Deputy Hernandez and the county inspector. When Karen took the stand, she delivered the performance of her life. "Your Honor, we had to secure the bridge. For safety. It was a danger to the community. He refused to cooperate with the neighborhood. He's antisocial. He thinks he's above the rules." My lawyer waited until she finished her dramatic monologue. Then he asked one simple question. "Who owns the land? The bridge is on the HOA," she snapped. "According to what legal document?" "Our vote." The courtroom went silent. Even the judge stared at her like she'd just announced the earth was flat. The verdict. The judge ruled faster than I expected. He found the HOA guilty of trespassing, guilty of vandalism of private property, guilty of interference with access, guilty of harassment, guilty of filing fraudulent claims. He ordered $78,000 in compensatory damages, $150,000 in punitive damages, full reimbursement for my legal fees, a court order permanently prohibiting the HOA from attempting to expand onto my land, removal of all records indicating I was ever under HOA jurisdiction. Then he added, "If you ever try anything like this again, I will personally refer this case to the district attorney." Karen collapsed into her chair. But the best part, the damages were so massive the HOA had to liquidate the board's social event fund, cancel their landscaping contracts, shut down construction on their new park, charge actual members a special assessment to pay the judgment. The neighborhood was furious at them, not me. 2 board members resigned immediately. Karen held on for another week before she was voted out in an emergency meeting. She tried to run for president again 3 months later. She got 1 vote, her own. Aftermath. Once the dust settled, I rebuilt the bridge entrance. Added cameras. Added 2 huge, private property, signs. Life went quiet. A few neighbors even stopped by over the next month to apologize for the insanity. But the best visit came from Deputy Hernandez. He pulled up one afternoon and leaned out the window. "You know," he said, "I still can't believe they welded a gate onto your bridge." I laughed. "I still can't believe they thought they could vote themselves the right to own my land." He shook his head. "Some people think HOA stands for higher order authority." "Not anymore," I said. "Not around here. And whenever I drive across my bridge now, I can't help but smile. Because the HOA tried to take everything. But I sued them, and won everything instead."